All right, do you see that in the full screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we are going to go over command and commissions, and we're starting from the very beginning. I know, Hutch, you've done a couple of opportunities and commissions, yes?
Yes.
Ileana, have you had much chance to play around in command yet?
Yeah, I created an opportunity, but I don't have anything done yet. It's just,
okay.
I just created the opportunity and we are still in the process.
Okay, great. So the very first thing is creating how to get to your opportunity. So you can do it from your contacts, or you can go to the opportunity. So either way is fine, but if you're creating one for the first time, I think the easiest way is to start with the contact and create it through there. So let's start with that. So up here when you log into command, first the little people on the side, top, those are your contacts. And then over here, you can see if you have any opportunities created with them, they would be here. And this is if you do it from the opportunity. So if you have opportunities already created and you want to find them, you can click on the little hand holding button. That's opportunities. And if you weren't aware, if you click on this red KW, a little tab slides across and it labels what they all are, which I find very helpful because I don't go to very many of them. So that little KW, click on that and it'll tell you which one's opportunities, which one's contacts, which one's designs. So that's just a little tip. So here you are. From opportunities, you can create an opportunity, so you can start there. And so this is where you have to fill in the information. So everything that has one of these red asterisks, you have to fill in. So your Houston Premier, and then if you have, if you're a part of a team, here's very important things. Once you create an opportunity, you cannot go back and change the market center, the team, the opportunity type, which is either a listing, a lease, a buy or sell. You can't change that once you created it, and who the owner is. So these four things at the top, you can't change once you create it. So if you inadvertently said it's a listing, but it's really a buyer, you have to start over with a new opportunity, just information. So but it helps if you put all your information here at the beginning, because it's less information you have to put in later. So everything with the red, you have to put in. Opportunity phase, commission rate, and then assignees. You can add people on your team if you have extra people that you want to be able to see who else is available. So
if I create an opportunity for a buyer, say, and the transaction falls through because they drop out during option period, can I reuse the opportunity? Or do I just start a whole new one?
The easiest thing is going to be to start a new one, just because the opportunity is usually connected to an address. And as a buyer, that would be a whole new address. You can still do it in there, do it from your contact, because then you'll have several and you'll see them all together with that same contact. And that you'll just know that one terminated or that one fell through, and then you can click on the one that is the current. Now, if you have a listing that falls through, there is a way, and I think there's a slide for that in a little bit. I'll show you where you can do a second version in under contract section. So you don't have to recreate an opportunity for a listing. For a buyer, it's just easier to recreate it. But for a listing, you can do a second version. So we'll get to that, but that's an excellent question. Feel free to pop in and ask questions whenever you need some clarification. All right, so here's your opportunity details. Make sure you put the address in here, because that is how your compliance officer, Lorraine, and myself can find your opportunity. If you don't put the address in, if you just, it self-fills with like listing Jones. But I don't know who your buyer's name is, or your listing, who your client's name is. So if you don't put an address in, I have a hard time finding it. So there's a little pencil up here at the right corner. So click on the pencil and fill in the address, and then it'll be a whole lot easier to search for everybody else on your leadership team. Okay, so the next thing, you go to your documents tab, and you pick your checklist type. So this is where you pick whether you have a buyer or a seller, or you're the tenant or the landlord. So that's going to populate where all your documents, your required documents are. So that's right in here. So this is a residential. So you can pick which kind of opportunity it is, and then you'll get the documents section for what kind of documents you need. Now this is important. So if you want to leave a note for me or Lorraine or Mary, you can use this little add comment and use the @ symbol. Say @ and then names will show up. It'll say H. Lorraine. It'll say Mary Bell. It'll say Melanie Amon. So put @ and then pick my name and say, I'm having trouble getting my commission to submit, please help. And then I'll get a notification in command. So if you just type in help Melanie without the @ symbol, I don't know you've left me a note, so I will never see it. So if you use the @ symbol, one of us, Lorraine, me, or Mary, and we can do the same for you. So I can put @Hutchlango, and command will send you a notification. And where you see that is that little red bell at the top. Let's see, I've got that on the slide. See this little bell? It's up next to your name. If you have a notification, there's a little red dot in there. So if somebody has left you a message, that's where you click on that and you can see it.
So Melanie, I'm still getting messages through Kelly about a transaction that's already closed and the documents are approved or whatever. Did I do something wrong? Why is it not shutting itself off?
I think that was probably when I closed out your transaction, I approved your closing documents, and it is just letting you know that I approved your closing documents. Okay. So it should, nobody, now that it's closed, nobody else should be going in there and, adding or approving anything. So it should be done with now, but that's the last notification you got was about the closing documents. So once you have chosen your listing type or your opportunity type, this one's a residential listing. Here's all where your listing documents, see, you clicked on listing here. So there's all they're required, and it says here whether it's required. So the listing worksheet is required, the information about brokerage services is required, and when you'll get further down, some of them are conditionally required, depending on whether, and it tells you exactly. Lorraine is very thorough, and she tells you exactly whether you need it or not. So you click on this add a file, and then you can upload your documents, your listing worksheet right into the command there, and that's where you put all your documents. So next thing to remember is if you are doing a transaction, not a lease, if you're doing a transaction, you have to fill out this offer section. So these are all the things that go across the top of your opportunity. Details, that's where we put the address. And this documents is where you have the listing and then under contract. So next thing is this offers. If you don't fill out the offers, it will not let you fill out the commission tab. So it's very important to remember, if there's no offers, you can't do the commission. So add a new offer, and then just like at the beginning, you're going to fill out everything that has a red asterisk. So now you can get to the commissions, yay, which is how you get your DA and how you get paid at closing. So here we go. So now you are, and it self-fills a lot of the information in from what you've already done. So it will already have your commission and your sales price based on your offer and your details section. So it has, if everything looks correct, then all you have to do is hit this submit button. Now, if you want to add a donation, or there's a rebate, or you have a referral, then there's some other things you have to do. So let's see where those options are. All right, so as you'll notice, as you put in, if you scroll down a little bit in the commissions, it already tells you how much you paid in your commission, how much you paid the company dollar, and for your royalty and your company dollar. So it keeps you on track with your cap. So you can, every time you do a commission, it'll tell you based on the one you just did, where you are and how close you are to capping. Now, this is not always accurate. It's getting better and better, but like everything in command, it's a learning curve. So, you know, don't be too terribly concerned if this is not accurate, because our system, where we pull information from command into our system, is always accurate. So if you have a question about your whether this is accurate or not, you can always ask me or Mary, and we can look it up for you. But it's getting better. So hopefully that will always be 100% in the future. Okay, so here's where the donations are. So first you go to the, there's a edit agent payment. There it is, under my pictures of you all. So click on edit agent payment, and then you can scroll down and you add, at the very bottom, there's add extra payment options. So you click on those and you choose deduction if you want to do the Ballard House. So deductions include the Ballard House and a transaction coordinator. Those are things, and rebate. Those all go under deductions. So this one, if you were going to choose to donate to the Ballard House, you would fill in all the information for the Ballard House. It does if you do a search for the address, it puts it in there. So you can do the same thing with KWP Cares. Use a deduction and use just the office address for KWP Cares. So you can do that on any transaction, just as a deduction for an extra payment. So bonuses are something else. If you're doing a new build, sometimes you get a bonus. So that's a type you can choose. We as an office do not use this concession. We use the deduction and rebate instead. So if you are giving your client some money off of your commission, use a deduction and then say rebate to buyer or rebate to seller. We also
want to have this material printed. I mean, do we want to have a copy of this material?
Yes, absolutely. I can send you this PowerPoint, the slides.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And there's also will be a video. This is being recorded, so it'll be on MCKW online. And there's an MCA page, and so this video will be on there as well. Okay, so if you have an agent in the office that you are paying a referral to, we also don't use inside referral, and here's why. Because then you are the one paying all of the company dollar in royalty, and that's not how we that's not a win-win for you and the other agent. So what you would do is add them as if they were a team member. So you reduce your amount of the amount that you were getting, and then add another agent in the office. Now, if you have a referral to someone outside the office, there is a place for an outside referral, and that is how we use that. So bonus, deduction, or outside referral. Those are the only three items you can choose in this section. So here's where, if you're doing a lease, if you are adding a co-broker, so you have the landlord, you're representing the landlord, so you are going to need to add, there's a place at the top that says add co-broker. So here's another, asterisk this, remember, command only wants to know what you're getting. It doesn't care what the other agent is getting. So don't put 6% in what the commission is, because it's confusing, because it says total GCI. No, total for you, only you. Or our side, only your side. It doesn't really, command doesn't care what the other team is getting, what the other side is getting. So even for a lease, say you're the landlord and you're getting you're still getting 50% of the first month's rent, right? But we as an office are paying out the tenant's agent, right? You still are only getting 50%. So total GCI is still just 50% of the lease. And then you can add the co-broker information, and then that will, it doesn't take that into account when it's figuring it out. Does that make sense? Okay. That's as realtors, we want, when it says total commission, and people want to put the whole thing. I'm like, no, command just wants to know what you're getting.
So if I have a referral from an agent in California I'm just putting my 25% of whatever his commission is.
You still put what you put the, in that case, you're going to do the total whole 3% is your commission. And then there's going to be a place for an outside referral. And that's where you take 25% of your commission, you put that number there. So it gets deducted later. And that's, so if, but if you, this slide's talking about if you have a referral inside the office, then you do agent A and agent B. So on the same, that way you don't pay, you're not paying the royalty and the company dollar. That makes sense? Now, if you, at the very bottom, it says, if you are doing a deal with someone else in the office, you're on the buy side, somebody else has the seller, you only do your side of the DA, they'll do their side. So there's two DAs. In the past, you used to be able to put them on one. That's not the case anymore. So with command, you have to, each side has their own DA. Let's see. So there's a summary at the right side while you're in commissions that stays fixed while you scroll down and get everything in there. So it should give you, it gives you all the details. And so if that all looks correct, then all you have to do is hit submit. But there is a place for below the summary where you can add a note. Say, you know, and this may be the case if for some reason, if you're not really 3%, say you're 3% minus $500. Well, I'm not sure command is quite detailed enough to let you put that information in. So you can always add that as a note. Hey, Melanie, just saying my commission is 3% minus the 500, thanks. And that way I'll read that when I get to your commission tab. And that's it. That's all the information you need. So we've got, I think I've got one more slide. So troubleshooting. These are people that have problems with submitting. It's probably one of these things. You have to fill out the offer section, remember, before you can do the commission tab. Now, in leases, there is not an offer section, so you can go straight to the commission tab whenever you feel like it. The close date, make sure you pay attention to the close date when you do the commission, because it's populating and it puts a date in by itself. And if you're not careful, it's going to choose a date like 3 days from today. And hopefully you're not closing in 3 days, so that you're doing your paperwork a little bit ahead of time. So make sure you choose a date that is accurate, and that populates from the offer section. So that date needs to be accurate. You can edit details or general information to get your address in there so that we can search it. And command only wants to know your total commission, not the total commission for the whole deal. You can change the name of the agent being paid and edit agent payment. Say if you were on a team and it self-populated to Chris Hiller when really it is Teresa Hiller that is the one getting paid, you can change that in the edit agent payment. So if a contract terminates, here's where you can create the second version, Hutch, we talked about earlier. So right here in the under contract, so you're in the documents tab and then under contract here on the left, and then here on under contract, you click on this little arrow and you can add a version. So that's how you get a second version for a listing. So because your listing documents are all still accurate, right? You don't have to recreate that whole listing section. You just need to recreate the under contract section. So it'll give you a whole clean slate of documents to put in for a second version if you have a new buyer for your listing. Does that make sense?
Okay, so this would be if the first offer fell through and we had a new buyer, I'd do this.
Exactly. And that's in this time, it's happening more and more frequently. Some of Tim Soikas are on third and fourth, versions. So that just happens. But the thing to remember is if you want for your numbers to be accurate, still submit a commission request on the first offer, so that that way at the end of the month you'll say, I wrote a contract, it just fell through. So that way you'll have your written contract numbers correct. Does that make, I see the wheels turning, Hutch.
So I just had a transaction fall through during the inspection period. So I need to complete or close out that opportunity. Is that what you're saying?
You don't have to close out the opportunity. Is it a listing?
It was a buyer.
Buyer. So yes, you go ahead and do the commission tab, even though you know it's terminated, it's fine. But if you do the commission tab, I'll make a DA for you and then I'll terminate it. As long as you put the termination docs in and you submit them to Lorraine, I'll create the DA and terminate it. And that way you get credit for that you actually had a contract written. It just terminated.
And what does that do for me?
Well, that's part of the awards at every month. It's how many contracts written, and it populates for the office too. We as an office keep track of how many contracts are written in a month. So that is as you become more and more higher in production, you'll want to know how many contracts were written, and it just keeps track of your numbers for you.
A Rocky question, because I'm pretty new agent. How can I terminate a contract? I mean, do we have to sign something that it's terminated? There is a form for that?
There is a form for that, and so I'm not a realtor, so I only do the commission tab part, but Karen can help you with those sorts of questions. But there is a termination and a release of earnest money form that needs to be signed. And then you can upload those to command. There's a slot for those at the bottom of the checklist, and submit them to Lorraine for compliance, and then we'll terminate your DA.
Yeah, the question comes because I got a buyer representation agreement already signed. The people that I'm representing, I think they don't gonna make it financially. So it's probably that the contract is gonna terminate because they are not in the position to do anything right now. Right. So I need to terminate, or they need just decide to just drop the deal. So I need to fill that form. I'm gonna ask them, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Ileana, are you asking about the buyer's rep contract or a transaction contract?
No, the buyer. Buyer representation agreement.
Okay, so I had one like that and I just let it sit and expire.
Yeah, that's
okay.
I was talking about the contract, like the contract for a particular property.
Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about the buyer leasing representation agreement.
Yeah, I think that one, there's not necessarily a form for terminating that one.
Okay. Well, both information were nice. Thank you.
Now, currently, it shows, okay, say you've got your listing and you did this slide here where you've got your second version, and now you have a new contract, and you need a new DA, right? Well, right now, Command is not allowing for a second offer tab or the second version of the commission tab. I'm hopeful that they're going to roll that out next week during Mega Camp, because they keep promising that's coming soon. But right now, if you have something that terminates and you need a new commission, a new DA created, we're doing those manually. I have a form for that. So you just fill in the form, you email it to me, and then I create it manually. But that is supposed to be updated soon. Fingers crossed, because that would be, we should be able to do this, add a version in offers and add a version in commission and be able to just do it all in Command. That's the dream. So this is my last slide. Do we have any more questions, any details about something? We can go back and look at a slide again, or just to have general questions.
So Melanie, I've actually had a couple of transactions terminate, never closed them out or anything like that. So you're saying I should probably go back and update them. I think one was like April or May, and the other one was just recently at the end of July or August, I think.
Yeah, that would be great. And I mean, it'll look, because we can't backdate. That's when Mary does transmittal at the the second business day of the month. That's the end of anything we can do in the previous month. So it'll look like it was created and terminated in September, but you would get credit in your numbers for how many contracts you created, how many deals you had, but not necessarily closed. Closed volume and contracts written are two different things. Anything else? Looks like there's some questions in the chat. Wendy? Oh, Wendy said, look in the chat, Eliana. Oh, you already did. Oh, good. You guys just chatting away without me. Do you have any other questions, Wendy? I know you're muted, but on.
If you don't mind, can you go briefly over the whole process again?
Sure.
I hope doesn't bother the other people.
No, I mean, if you need to, if you're all good, you can jump off. I know Hutch has done it a couple times, and Wendy is new to our office, so I appreciate her being on, and she's going to be helping with the team. Let's go back.
Yeah, it's just a brief, just a review.
Okay, so you've created the opportunity. You know how to do that part, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's your create opportunity. Let me close that. So this is, you fill in all your information to get your opportunity created and create, okay? You're good?
Yes.
Okay. Next. So this is where you fill in the property information and the details. This is right now is in the details section, so it's the very far left tab in your opportunity as they go across.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you put the address in. So then the next tab is documents. So you want to go to documents and you pick your checklist type. So you either pick, landlord, you pick tenant, you pick listing, you put residential buyer. There's even, I think commercial is one of a choice, and so is like undeveloped. Oh, new build is one of the choices because there's less documents required for that. And like undeveloped property is one of the choices. So you choose your checklist. And oh, we didn't talk about DocuSign at all, and that's a whole nother class. But if you are using DocuSign to have your client sign your paperwork, this is where you would start your transaction. So at the top right of your opportunity, it says start transaction. If you click on that, you connect this particular opportunity to a room in DocuSign. Does that make sense? You have to start with the opportunity though. If you get paperwork all signed and you've got it all in someplace, in DocuSign, and then want to connect it to an opportunity, it doesn't work that way. You have to start with your opportunity, and then it will create a room if you click on this start transaction and you choose DocuSign, because you can use .loop as well, but we recommend DocuSign. And it does fill in some of your information from your opportunity, which is nice. So you don't have to type in everything. So then you add your documents according to the checklist in the documents tab in your opportunity. And then you have to submit them to Lorraine. There's a button at the top that says submit to MC, I think it says.
So if I build my transaction or open the transaction in DocuSign and get all the documents loaded and signed and all of that, if I push sync transaction, does it bring it from DocuSign back to command, or do I have to manually load command for the commissions?
It will sync the information. You will still have to manually load. You will still have to choose your documents to add each file. Is that your question? Yes. So yes, if you click sync transaction, that's if you've made changes in either your opportunity or in DocuSign. If you've made any changes, it'll sync them across and update your information. Like you had an email address wrong, or you changed a phone number, it'll sync it across. But you still have to upload. But it gives you an option. Let me see if I have that on the slide. So when you click this add file, one of the choices is going to be DocuSign. So if you click, instead of, because it'll give you to browse, which you can choose something from your computer, You can drag and drop, which is what I usually do on mine, or it'll give you a choice to use DocuSign. And so if you click DocuSign, it'll take you right to the list from that particular room. So you can choose. You don't have to search your whole computer for the files for this opportunity. Does that make sense? Are you with me, Eliana?
Yes, so those forms should be in our library in DocuSign.
Yes.
Okay, because I did something last week and I couldn't find in the library for the Texas realtors. I just saw her and for the market center, but not the rest of the documents, not from DocuSign, not from, so I had to do it separate. I had to do the document in my computer and then load it to the command. I couldn't do it from command.
Some of them are, and I haven't, like I said, DocuSign is a whole other class. I did an introductory class just to get some rudimentary information. But there are, like you saw some of the forms, right, in DocuSign that you need. There's a couple of libraries in there, and most of what you need should be in the library. Is that what you found, Hutch, that you found most of them?
Yes, that's true. And then I bring them over to command manually, or I have been.
Yeah, so you can, yeah, so you may try that next time you try that. When you click add a file, choose DocuSign, and if you've connected this opportunity to your DocuSign, you should be able to choose from documents in that room. Now, I did have a tip. Here's a tip for you, Hutch. If you're using DocuSign, you know, you can make envelopes, right, or different folders. The recommendation was to create a folder that has all of the documents you need for the listing section in command. Then you can just choose from that folder and find them all. So then you would have another folder for all the under contract forms and put all those in that folder. So when you're uploading, you would have all of them in one folder to choose from. And it'll give you an option to choose a folder when you click this add a file. Okay? All right, so after you get all your forms, you've submitted to your MC. So up here at the top, see submit to MC. So you get all your forms, all your files in, you submit to MC, and Lorraine is going to take a look at them. And then over here, when she approves them, it'll say approved. Or if she says, if there's a problem, she'll say returned, and there'll be something in red on this side, and there'll be a little note that you can see what the issue is, and then you can fix it, and then resubmit. So then you go to the offers tab. So the offers is the next one over. We did documents, we've got everything submitted. Now you go to offers and add a new offer. So there's 3 or 4 slides that are included in the offer. So you just fill in the blanks as requested. Some of it populates, so you don't have to, reinvent the wheel every time, which is nice. And then after you accept, you have to accept an offer. So now this has nothing to do with an actual offer that you or your client may or may not accept. I mean, it's just, this is for command. Because I've had the question, but we have an accepted offer. It's in there. Now this is just the offer tab. So you have to fill out the offer tab, accept that offer, and then you can do the commission part. Is there any particular part of the commission section that you want me to go over, Ileana? You're fine with that part? So the important button here is this one, the submit. I've had so many people say, oh, I submitted that. I'm like, no, mine still says open. It's nice. When I look it up, I can see most of this, but the buttons don't. I can't submit anything on your end, but I can see where you are. So we can look at it in real time together, which is really nice, but I can't submit. I can't add files and I can't submit. So unless you hit the submit button, I can't do anything else. So that happens all the time. So the rest of this, I think, was about mostly about deductions. So if you wanted to add a bonus or if you had a commission, a referral you were paying out, remember there's a place to add notes. So if you have a question or you're not sure something is right, you can always add a note there. And then there's the under contract, second version. So keep in mind the close dates and make sure you add the address, and command only wants to know what you are getting. And don't forget to hit submit. All right, any other questions? Okay, we're all good? All right, well, thank you all so much for coming today. And it'll be probably next week, but this will be up on the website. Ileana, I'll go ahead and email this slideshow to you.
Perfect. I really appreciate. I got one question because I'm totally new in the real estate world. And if I ever need help doing the whole process, can I have a one-on-one, you know, because I'm now seeing the class, but probably when I have my first contract, my first sale, I know it could happen that the excitement, the nervousness, you know, probably we are prone to make mistakes. So can I go to the office and someone probably guide me through the process or probably be with me during the whole process? So because I'm the kind of person that learn from one-on-one, and I learn in the process when I'm creating something more than, you know, just being in class. Does that make sense?
And the more you do it, of course, the easier it's going to be. We are always here at the office if you need assistance. Now, we're going to encourage you to find the information for yourself, because we do have 300 some odd agents, right?
Absolutely. I can find the information. It's just to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
Sure, absolutely. And Karen was your first point of contact for that sort of thing. And you know, once you do this commissions a couple times, it actually it becomes easier, because you'll figure out what populates, and most of the time all you have to do is, once you do the offer section, is just hit submit. It's all in there, unless you've got a referral or something else you have to add in. But it's really pretty self-explanatory. So, but absolutely, we are always here to answer any questions for you.
Is this particular class also included in the 66-day challenge?
Yes, Marty Miller has a lot of information about command in his 66-day challenge. So,
okay, perfect, great.
You'll be able to see more things exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Melanie.
You are very welcome. Hutch, did you want a copy of the slideshow as well?
Sure. Like I said, I've done a couple of them. And Ileana, if I can answer any questions, I'm happy to do so. I'm relatively new myself, but I know if you're not on the forum, that's also a good place to get answers.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great afternoon and a great weekend.
You too. Enjoy.
Okay,
thank you. Be blessed.
Bye.